Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it always amazes me how when you feel that everybody's important, every moment, every minute of your life, it seems like there's something that's dealing with that basic concern. And because that happens, you're always getting information that's uplifting. Sometimes, well, it's never degrading that much. But here it is. I'm thinking about this is Saturday morning, and tomorrow, a lot of people are going to be going to church. Church isn't as popular as it used to be. The Gen Z generation have decided that they're tired of the talking. And when they're living in a world that's getting worse and worse and worse every day and every year, you can really see it. And you've been going to church every time you're supposed to be going, and things are still getting worse, then that tells them, people are thinking that something is wrong. And there's no waiting it out to see if it's right. When it's hurting you now, that's why. So I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking about if you go to Sunday school, if you have church, you're going to be talking about something that happened supposedly thousands of years ago. You're going to be talking about what it meant then and who was involved then. And I think, personally, based upon what I've been given, that to do that is you're missing the mark. What you do, you take yesterday's story and make it today's story by using today's stuff. Don't use the horse and buggy, use the Cadillac to tell the same story. So what am I saying? This is to make a long story short, ladies and gentlemen. It appears to me that the maker of this universe and provided all that is provided, and that includes us, with our necessities and with the ability to fix it, it tells me that life is all about love. Life is about love. And that basically for us means loving one another. Loving one another. You know, if you grow up in a family, you got two or three siblings. You guys are kind of close. If you're poor and you live out disconnected from other families, you really are close because you're sleeping in the same beds. You're being like spaghetti. So you really get close. But the thing of it is, God wants all of us to love one another. When you look at someone, I'm talking to every last one of you who hear my voice. When you look at someone and they seem to be so happy and so fulfilled and having so much joy in their doing whatever it is, when you look at them, you're to see no animosity. Why? Because you know you can do the same things to have joy in your life. In fact, what you're doing right now is just as joyous because that's what real life is all about. And so you have no envy. There's nothing like that comes over you. And at the same time, that same love, when you look at anybody that's going through anything, that's you going through that same thing. And when you're going through that same thing, you're wanting it to quit. You wanted it gone. And now that you're having it and everybody understands what it is, you're not alone. Everybody is doing whatever they can to make sure that whatever's causing this pain is not there. Why? Because for it to happen to you means it's happening to them. They might not feel it. I mean, literally at that moment, but they know that at any moment they could, just like it's happening to someone else. So it is the duty and responsibility of the outside body, the extras, to protect one another from all of that. Now, this is love. That's the kind of love that life is all about. We're talking about something that happened 2,000 years ago is okay. It's even good watching it on movies. But life goes on. You can always recognize the connection. There's nothing wrong with that. That's wisdom. But life goes on, and you have to judge each time with the time. And it's easier that way because trying to focus on what happened back there, what should have happened, or what is requiring you to do today. Now, it's simple. If somebody's hurting, you're hurting. Somebody's joyous, you're joyous. Make sure it stays that way. That might entail changing a lot of things around, making sure that what you do is not driving somebody else to do something that's detrimental. So I'm just saying it one more time. God wants us to love one another, to love one another. So when you go to church tomorrow, you make sure that you come out feeling that you have grown closer to in the understanding of what it means to love one another. And if you aren't, or if you haven't, make sure that you talk to the pastor before you leave and talk to him. Tell him what's on your mind, because it is time that we make that change. I didn't want to talk this long, but I was just thinking about what I mentioned the other day. They had an election, should I say, a discussion about slavery. That transatlantic slave trade is a crime against humanity. They were bringing the world together to see what the world had to say about it. Now, my understanding is that 123 nations agreed that slavery and those people who were going through those changes in that time, but all slavery is a crime against humanity. It's all saying that. I mean, can you imagine a crime against humanity? I mean, what else? What can be worse? War, crime against humanity, all of that. But slavery is as well. So, 153 countries says we agree. 52 abstained from voting. They didn't want it either way. It didn't matter to them. So whoever overcomes as far as this determination is concerned, they'll just support that. It doesn't matter to them. That's what they're saying. But there were three countries that says that transatlantic slave trade is not a crime against humanity. And that was coming from our country, the United States of America, the country that black people built and made it possible for white folks to have privilege all of our existence, to be on top, walking and trampling on black folks every way they can. And the rest of the world look at that and say, wow, I didn't know it was like that. Well, it was happening back in those times, but I can understand, and I'm against that. I vote that was a crime against humanity. But the ones who benefited from it, others who benefited from it the most, such as the United States, oh no, that wasn't a crime against humanity. In fact, we're still trying to keep it going. We're trying to make sure that blacks ain't got no respect. In fact, we're going to make sure that they have to periodically have a determination made as to whether they can still be considered a citizen or if they're even still human. I mean, this is the country that we live in. This is the country that black folks built and have kept it here. And the same people that rode our backs did everything. Well, you might say, I didn't do it, I didn't do it. Well, yeah, you did. Because like your president just said, he's still trying to do it. Can he keep it going? And what are you doing? Are you standing up against it? What are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing? Waiting to see how it's going to come out. And either way, it's all right with you. Yeah, well, anyway. So what I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, if you need another reason, because I don't think that there's nothing that can be done that's more demonic to a people than what whites have done to black people. Nothing more demonic. And somebody might say, well, at least you didn't get burned up. Well, that's a thing that it seems a lot of people are going through today, just being burned up. Why? Because they don't have any money to throw away, talking about burial, burn us up. So I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, can't you see that? And if someone can come at you like that and say you don't matter, that you don't exist, then why would you go for anything less? If you got to represent anything or something, why would you go for anything that's less than the best? And they say that heavenliness is the best. That's where your needs, your wants, and your desires are met. You suffer for nothing, nothing that is necessary for survival or anything else that you choose. That might include, but not limited to, food, clothing, shelter, education, health care, transportation, infrastructure, and so on and so forth. In fact, anything that's made by the hands of man. And that allows you to live in peace and be prosperous, free, joyous, happy, fulfilled, satisfied, and living the life rather than dreaming. Not only that, it's guaranteed because each of you recognize that you have a gift. You got something that you love to do and you've discovered what it is. And it is necessary in creating and causing a manifestation of the things that we, the people, say we got to have. Now you get, you take that thing that you love. That's what you participate in as far as your contribution to life. And in doing that, you get a special blessing. You don't even know where it comes from. I say it comes from God. And that's joy. You got joy and love working that keeps you satisfied and suffering for nothing. Every time you can always smile. And if you ever see anybody going through any kind of change, it burns you up. So you take care of that, make sure it doesn't exist. No lying, no cheating, no stealing, no, none of that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, tell me something. Having the opportunity to live a life like that while you're in these bodies on this earth during these times, rather than waiting to die to see what's going to happen. Why won't you change? Why won't you change? Somebody might say they can't change because they're dumb. You're not dumb. Somebody might say they can't change because they're stupid, but you're not stupid. Somebody might say they can't change because they're ignorant, but you're not ignorant. Some still might say they can't change because they're fools. Now you know you're not a fool. And so if you don't fall in any of these categories, you must be ready for change. So let's change. Thank you.